welcome to day 2 of Vlogmas. Today I thought we could have more of like a sit down chatty video where I tell you a bit more about me. I kind of didn't expect to be at this point so far in Vlogmas, but to be honest, I have just been totally like out of whack today, and I was gonna sit and do a video of me making a Christmassy t-shirt to wear to work tomorrow, but I just didn't have it in me. But I was prepared for times like these, and I had kind of brainstormed in this book not only content ideas for days where I've not got anything on, but also conversation topics, or like not really conversation topics because I'm just kind of not having a conversation, I'm just chatting to you. But I thought kind of today, because of how I'm feeling currently, the fact that I'm tired and I've decided to do what's right for me in the content I'm making, that I would maybe chat a bit about my mental health and my journey with ADHD. Yeah, ADHD is one of those things that's spoken about so often that it's almost like trendy and like become like this thing that is like almost novel to have, and it kind of annoys me that that's the way it's portrayed, because I don't want to be trendy. I mean, that's never my goal in anything, is to be trendy, but if it was to pick between being trendy and not having ADHD, I kind of know which one I would pick. Although that's not fair, because I do feel like it's what makes me me, and there is so many fun aspects to it. And yes, ADHD is a superpower, but also sometimes it's really not. So yes, that's just kind of what I thought I would talk to you a bit about today. I'm not going to go into like too much depth, but I just thought it might be interesting for some people. And I also, like, I do feel a bit of like a responsibility to talk about mental health when like my account is called Jolly Jocelyn and like my business was called The Happy Hut. I lean towards those things. Like the Happy Hut was called The Happy Hut because it made me really happy, and it was also kind of an escapism to be really happy. And I called myself Jolly Jocelyn because I dress like a very jolly person, and I am a very jolly person 80% of the time. Probably even 90% of the time. Do you know what? Even when I'm feeling pretty crap, I'm pretty jolly too. But I just wanted to kind of address the fact that like I am Jolly Jocelyn, but I'm also Jolly Jocelyn that's medicated for depression and anxiety. So who knows if I'd be this jolly without it. Actually, I do, and I wouldn't be. But yeah, so basically I don't really know where to start in this. Like, obviously, like, let's go back to the beginning, but really I'm gonna start with like my adulthood experience of it, of both ADHD and mental health. So in 2022 my life kind of had a few quite big changes in it. I moved out for the first time, and I was living alone for the first time, and I also was working a job that I found really stressful. I was working in a nursery, and I think it's such a common thing with anyone who's worked in early years or childcare or education knows that the job after COVID was basically a different job than before COVID, and it was very difficult to manage. When I first moved out, I did decide that starting therapy would be a good move for me, just because I knew myself, and I knew that I have always had like issues that I needed to address and like things that I needed to work through. So I started therapy that year as well, in the summertime, and then kind of towards the winter I started to get in quite a low place, but I didn't really recognise that in myself. I thought I was just really stressed at work, and I kind of went to the doctors just because I was like, I need a couple of weeks off. And I was like, I'm just going to get signed off with stress for a couple of weeks and just, you know, I just need a break. And I went to the doctors, and I'm really lucky that I had an absolutely amazing GP. Like, you just don't hear stories like that basically ever, and I just was really, really fortunate with the doctor I got. I don't know if this is like an NHS Scotland thing or NHS general, but might know that there's like this questionnaire you have to fill out, and it is like the most miserable thing ever, and it's all about like anxiety and depression. You have to like rate how you're feeling, and basically my rating got me to, you are quite mentally unwell. So she then booked me in for a week later, and so I could decide if I wanted to go on medication or not, because I kind of always felt like I didn't want to be medicated. I wanted to try and like fight it myself. But she did in that appointment kind of say to me like, it's not a problem with you, like it's just a chemical issue that can get solved. The same day I took my first antidepressant, I was told I had to move out of one house and into another. That thankfully it's this house that I'm in now, and it's lovely, but when I moved in it was not so lovely, and it took a lot of work, and I was very grateful that my mum was there to help me through it, because I was like literally going through the first week of antidepressants, and anyone who's ever been on those knows that that's wacko. Anyway, but then also to move and decorate and have all of these things to think about, and I went from like a fully furnished place to an unfurnished place, so there was just so much going on. So that was a pretty crazy week. But in that time I also started to think maybe I need to start thinking about getting assessed for ADHD, because going back a bit, when I worked in the nursery I encountered children with a lot of different additional support needs in various stages, and I obviously researched that quite a lot. Throughout lockdown I really, the more I researched ADHD and neurodiversity in girls, I was like, okay, I think I recognise her and I think it's me. But I kind of was just like, it's quirky, it's funny, it's fine. But yeah, so I decided after I spoke to the doctor and started on medication that I actually wanted to think about getting an assessment for ADHD, because I had read up that a lot of people who have ADHD find that your usual bog standard antidepressants don't work, and I didn't want to be on the wrong medication, because obviously medication can really alter you, and I didn't want to be on the wrong one. I also was quite fortunate that just 11 months, which it is a long time, but for an ADHD assessment in Scotland at the minute it's pretty good, especially considering it's on the NHS as well. 11 months after that I had an assessment. I will say the assessment was one of the most traumatic things I've ever experienced, and nobody really talks about how awful ADHD assessment is. I do think I had a particularly bad person assessing me, who had absolutely no concept of how to support somebody who like has maybe also experienced trauma but has maybe also just got ADHD, and I was like ready to be like, yes, I've been diagnosed, I've been recognised for what's going on, and instead I was like, what? Okay. But anyway, it was assessed that I had both kinds, so hyperactive and inattentive ADHD, and still nothing's happened. That was October last year, so almost, well, it was a year ago in October, so what's that, 14 months ago. I'm waiting to hear from a psychiatrist, whatever the head doctor is that can prescribe things, so I'm waiting to hear first to see if I want to get medicated or not. A lot of the time I think I don't want to be medicated, and then sometimes I think I do. But yeah, I didn't really notice a time where my mental health like improved. Like, I think sometimes people think there's like this like magic day where you wake up and you're just not sad anymore. I always like try to do different things to make me feel better, so I got really into crystals, and then I kind of got a bit into witchcraft and herbalism and things like that, and really like focused myself on that. And again, ADHD thing, I get hyperfixated on things, so it was quite nice that I kind of got hyperfixated on self-help. I started doing yoga a lot. I was still going to therapy. I would say to literally anyone in the world, go to therapy. It is the best thing ever. I finished therapy in the summer of this year, Actually probably even spring this year, we decided that I didn't really need it anymore. But then like a month ago I started to think, oh, do I need it again? Could I do with a little chat? So actually on Wednesday I have my first therapy session in months, and I just think sometimes there's a bit of stigma to it. Like I kind of felt a bit like, oh, have I failed that I've had to go out to therapy? But actually there's nothing happened, there's nothing, I don't feel particularly awful. I just feel like therapy is such a nice thing to do and a good thing to do for yourself. It's not nice to do, but like it's a kind thing to do for yourself, that I was like, why not do it? You know, why not? It might just, and also my therapist is amazing, so I like to just chat with her. I had this moment in the spring of this year, actually maybe it was just the summer, it wasn't that long ago, it would have been spring I think, where I went for a drive and I went to like all of the places that I used to go to while I was trying to make myself feel better. So like I would often go to like the Standing Stones, or like there's this place called Happy Valley, which is like one of the only places in Orkney with trees, and go to all of these places and like just try and like feel better, and it never really worked. But then, like, you know, it still was nice to get out, but I was never like cured because I'd been outside. But then when I was there a couple of months ago, I was like, oh my god, I'm here just because like I'm happy and it's a nice day. I'm not here because I'm like searching and trying to feel better. And it was such like a moment of like realization that of how far I'd come. And I also have learned what I think is a really important skill of like setting personal boundaries. So like I have learned through therapy to set boundaries with other people. One of the best things I ever learned was that boundaries are not there to hinder relationships, they are there to help relationships. And if there is somebody in your life that doesn't respect a boundary, it's because they don't respect you. It's a very hard lesson to learn and it really hurts to learn it, but I think it's better to have just a few friends than lots of friends who maybe don't respect you and maybe use you. But my personal boundaries, this year, I really try to be quite strict with myself. So like tonight, for example, I really did, like I've literally got a t-shirt and my cricket and all this stuff beside me because I really did want to make a Christmas t-shirt. But I'm tired and I'm getting a headache, and I was like, if I do that I'm going to be up for hours, and then I'm going to edit the video, and I love doing that. I love editing the video. I had so much fun last night, but it takes a long time, and then it takes a long time to upload, and I just knew it was not like the good option for me. So yeah, I'm trying to set those personal boundaries a bit more, and like saying to myself, right, if you don't do this, you're gonna feel crap. Like if you don't have an evening on the sofa, if you don't have a nap right now, you're gonna feel like crap. I don't know, I feel a bit like I treat myself like I'm treating someone else, and I think that's quite an effective way to do it. I also have to remind myself very often that rest is productive. Sometimes I hate it when I feel like I've not done anything, and then I think, well actually I've taken a day that's going to make me feel better in the future, and I'm going to benefit from this in the days to come. My self-worth has improved so much in the last 2 years. I think I'm going to do another video all about like my self-confidence and how I've got to the point I am now, but loving yourself and being kind to yourself is so important for every aspect of your well-being. And I really do think if you like to treat yourself like you would treat someone else is the best way to do it. Sometimes it's really difficult to do that though. You don't want to say to yourself, oh, just leave it, go and lie down, go and have a cup of tea, you'll be fine. But sometimes it's all you need. And yeah, I just want to say thanks for watching. I hope that it's been informative and slightly helpful, and probably very chaotic, and you're probably more confused than when you started. If you do have any questions about anything I've spoken about, please do leave them in the comments and I will either answer them there or answer them in the next video. Because I think it is something that is important that's spoken about and it's not spoken about all that often. And I am jolly Jocelyn, but I'm also sometimes depressed Jocelyn, and I'm always medicated Jocelyn. So just remember that. This has been a long conversation and I've covered a lot of topics. Hopefully it's not been too heavy because I'm always just chatting nonsense anyway. So hopefully it's not been a heavy conversation. I've not cried, so that's good going. My throat is a little sore though because I've been just talking for literally like 40 minutes straight. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow for another episode of Vlogmas. Who knows what we're going to do tomorrow because it's another day of work, so it might be another sit down chatty vlog. I might, I don't know. I mean, I literally have a full list in here of different conversation topics and I would love to chat about my journey through self-confidence and self-love. So if that's something you would like to hear about, do let me know. Remember, Christmas is the season to be jolly, but also it's okay not to be jolly. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. It means a lot that you watched this video if you did. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to watch it and putting your time into me. And hopefully this video was good. Bye.